Hey guys, I'm Dave Hackett, and this is a little book. It's actually a small book. It's called UFO. Now, normally UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object, and you're kind of thinking aliens and spacey monsters and stuff. Not in this case. UFO stands for Unavoidable Family Outing. You know what I'm talking about. It's when you're in the backseat of your car and you've got your big stinky sisters and they're all sweating and leaning and squashing all over you, and you've got mum or dad or somebody and they're in the front seat and they're driving. You're going a billion miles north to some hideous place that you don't want to go to. This is called the family holiday, and this is what UFO is all about. Now, it starts off with our narrator. He's a guy of about 11 years old. He's the youngest of 3 kids, and he has his 2 older sisters, Sally and Jess. They're piled in the car with him, and Dad has it in his mind. Dad's a bit of a nut job. He has it in his mind to drive the 1961 Morris Minor 6,000 kilometres to Cairns and back in the space of 2 weeks. A little ridiculous. Now, we find out also along the way that Jess, the eldest sister, this guy here, his name is Brad, and he's Jess's boyfriend. He's a very, if you can see that, very attractive dude. He's the lead singer of a band called Smell Rat, and he's just nasty in the way that, well, he's a nice guy, but he's nasty in the way that he's completely hopeless at singing and a fairly hopeless dude all around. But we find out that Brad has been kidnapped, so we have to figure out where Brad is and how to get him back, and that's part of the mystery of UFO. But along the way, they visit lots and lots of lovely Australian iconic spots. They go to the Golden Guitar, they get lost in the desert, all sorts of crazy things happen. There's a big explosion of some sort, which is nice. But it's chock full of loads of laughs. There's lots and lots of insults. And I'll just read you just a spec from page 2 if I can. This will tell you a little bit about Brad and a little bit about our narrator and the middle sister Sally. All the way along throughout the book, they try and figure out what the letters in Brad stand for. They call it the Brad test. Sally and I had built up what was now an ongoing competition to guess exactly what Brad stood for. We called it the Brad test. I just mentioned that. Here's how it worked. I would try to think of 4 words to describe Brad that began with each of the letters in his name. And then Sally would try to out-Brad me. Hey Sal, how about big reject and doofus? No, I've got one. Blatantly ridiculous armpit dork. There was no greater source of joke material than a sister with a boyfriend, especially one like Brad. We could let rip with strange and goofy versions of Brad for hours. Brown rancid alligator dung, or beaver ripple ashtray dork. Last Tuesday, just after the Partridge Family, Sally pulled out an absolute corker. Hey turkey brain, she called to me using her most complimentary nickname yet. Check this out. Buffalo rectum and drain hole. I nearly wet my pants. Yeah, so that gives you a bit of a flavour as to how UFO works. Lots and lots of fun in there, so grab a copy, read it, and then read it again just because you can.